Yeah, great to have you here, Jim. Wonderful. Great feeling for camp drafting that we saw last night. It was an amazing opening round.
Yeah, good evening, Kate. Good evening, Tim. Yes, absolutely. It was champagne camp drafting in round one of the World Championship Camp Draft. And let's hope that round two is just as good, and can it get better?
Now, Jim, very quickly as the cattle make their way into the yard, for someone who's never seen camp drafting before, give us a quick overview. How does it work? What are we going to see?
Well, Tim, in the where the cattle have just gone into the yard, that's what we call the cattle camp. And the beast will go in there and hoping that he can make the best selection and have the best beast for the highest pointed run. Now in the cattle camp, for the cutout is out of a possible score of 26 points. Now we have two judges in our camp draft judges, Mr. Fred Patterson and Mr. Wayne Edwards. And the competitor will bring that beast up to the face of the camp and take 3 or 4 turns out to try and get as many points out of a possible score of 26 points. One judge might give 22, one judge might give 23, so that'll be 22 and a half. Outside tonight, it's a left-hand course, so the first peg will be taking on the left. And
so
you
that's
get 2
the peg
points
closest
for the first
down
peg.
near the Vincent Fairfax stand or the Sutter Sinclair stand, that's correct, that's tree?
That's it, Tim. Then they come back and they do a form of figure eight. They'll do a change over and then they'll take the second peg on the right and you get 1 point for that peg. And then what we call the gate, the two pegs closer together, sort of directly in front of the members stand, they get another point for horse work for the course out of horse. That'll make up a total of 4 for the course. The speed of the run, the control of the run, how the horse is working is what they call horse work. And that is out of a possible score of 70 points. So the 26, the 70 and the 4 adds up to a total of 100 points.
Now, Jim, the sport, it is a sport these days. It's Australia's own sport. Where are the origins? How did we come across this great sport that we love here in Australia called camp drafting?
Well, camp drafting, I think on the big stations and properties, etc., around our great nation, where some of the workers said, "Now I've got a better horse than you," and I'd say, "Well, I've got a better horse than you," and then they started having a competition, and then back in the 1930s, they formed the camp drafting. And camp drafting certainly has taken off in the last few years. It's a great family sport. There's starts off with the juniors and the juveniles, lady camp drafters and the maiden novice open horses. It's just got bigger and bigger. A wonderful family sport.
Now, Jim, of course, the quintessential need for a camp drafter is cattle. We have beautiful cattle donated to us here this year. Where have they come from?
Well, Tim... Yes, I'm very, very thankful to Elliston Pastoral Company. Many thanks to the Packer family, the management up at Elliston, Rob Teague and Scott Mitchell. These cattle have been hand-picked for this competition. And as we looked at the steers there last night, they were a line of magnificent Angus steers. Tonight you'll notice the Angus cross steers. The Angus steers are a bally face. So out of black cows by the Hereford bulls, etc., but a magnificent line of cattle again. And on behalf of the RAS, many thanks to Elliston Pastoral Company and the Packer family for a wonderful line of cattle for the World Championships once again.
Now also, Jim, last night after the camp draft, you shouted a beautiful glass of wine, which I did appreciate. Thank you for that. Where's that come from?
Well, Tim, you were very lucky. We got down to the last bottle, but Tyrrell's have come good again. So Tyrrell's, and who else would it be? But and the camp drafters, Gav White was the winner of round one, and I was lucky enough to get an invite over there to the stables there after round one, and we did have a glass of Tyrrell's.
So you're telling me that glass you gave me last night you didn't actually buy? Here I was thinking you were shouting, but it was actually all thanks to one of our beautiful sponsors here at the Sydney Royal Easter Show.
That's right, Tim. Where would we be without our magnificent sponsors?
That's certainly right. Well, Jim, looking forward to camp draft. I asked you and Kate last night where you thought the money should be put or who you thought the favourite was. Have you got a favourite for me this evening?
No, Tim, I'm still sitting on the fence.
Kate, have you studied the form? Have you got a favourite for me?
Well, the thing is, this is a sport that involves 3 hearts and minds. It's the rider, it's the horse, and it's the beast. And it's very good luck, apart from enormous skill, if you can get them all going in the right direction. So really, anyone is capable of putting in a top performance tonight. So that's what's so exciting about it.
Well, sit back, relax if you're here in the Spotless Stadium. If you've never seen camp drafting before, you've got two of the best in the business to take you through it. You've got the best in Australia in the round number 2 of the World Championship Camp Draft here in the Spotless Stadium. It's a nail-biting, exciting experience, and our first competitor out is
Mr. Ben Matum on Millbrook Boutique. He's 25 years old. He's a horse chiropractor from Stroud, and in fact, in 2009, he became the youngest rider ever to win this event here at Sydney Royal at the ripe old age of just 17. But he's no stranger to Sydney. He's been a boy rider at Sydney Royal before, and he's also competed in the State of Origin Rodeo. And his horse, Millbrook Boutique, is a 14-year-old black mare by Adios Reflect.
Okay, thank you, Kate. So competitor number 1, Ben Matum and Millbrook Boutique. They're about to make their selection of one of these magnificent Angus cross steers. So Millbrook Boutique, the black Australian stock horse mare, and they make their selection and they come forward to the face of the camp. And he does 1, he does 2, 3, calls for the gate. He steps out now into the Spotless Stadium, competitor number 1, round 2 of the World Championship Camp Draft. And Boutique says now just take it nice and steady around the first peg, and things are looking pretty good for Ben Matum and Millbrook Boutique. Now they do a bit of a changeover. Now he just says, come around here. Oh, the Angus steer's going to come off him nice. Now it says, Boutique says, let's come on now, Ben. Let's leave the footwork to me. You press the right buttons. Now, boys and girls, mums and dads, can they do it? Can Boutique and Ben Matum? It's looking very good. Come on, boys and girls, mums and dads. It's a beautiful run. That'll be 4 out of 4, and we'll leave the scoring department into the hands of our camp draft judges, Fred Patterson and Wayne Edwards.
Well, while we wait for that score, we now turn our attention to Mr. Gavin White. He's our second competitor. He was last night's winner in round 1, and he's riding Austin's Pastures Vegas. Now, he's a horse trainer. He lives near Tamworth, and in 2016, the ABCRA's most successful aggregate rider. He's competed and placed in cutting futurities as well as camp drafting, and this is his 6th time in Sydney. He came 5th in 2014. What will he be able to do in 2017? Let's find out.
So a score now coming through for Ben Matum and Millbrook Boutique, 22 for cutout, 61.5 for horsework, 4 out of 4 for the course, a total of 87.5 points. 87.5 points for Millbrook Boutique and Ben Matum. We're off to a flying start, Kate.
Indeed.
So number 2 now, Gavin White from Corindai with Austin's Pastures Vegas. Had the big score last night of 91.5 points right up the face of the camp. He does 2, does 3. Back across there now. Vegas says, oh, look at the footwork there. Come on now. Here's Gav White, steps out into the Spotless Stadium. Oh, he just goes one way, goes the other. Vegas, can they get over there? He's going to go around the back of the gate on night number 2. But give him a nice round of applause, making him feel welcome here at the Sydney Royal Easter Show 2017.
And now competitor number 3, Tony Mortimer, goes into the camp to select his beast. He's from Saltash. He's a railway worker and a truck driver. He's been drafting for 9 years, and this is his first time at the Sydney Royal Easter Show. He rides Cowboys Mount Reflect, a 10-year-old mare that was the ABCRA's maiden horse of the year in 2015 and 9th in the ABCRA Nationals for open horse last year.
A score for Gavin White and Vegas was 21.5 points. 21.5 points for Vegas and Gavin White. So, yes, we move up there now to Saltash near Nelson's Bay. Wonderful part of the world. Tony Mortimer and Little Abbey. So they're about to make their selections. Says which one? Little Abbey says now one of these magnificent looking steers. Oh, drifts off nicely for her. Now Little Abbey and Tony Mortimer right up the face of the camp. 1, goes one way, goes across, does another one. 2, 3, calls for the gate. Looking to step out and gets a tricky one, goes back the other way, but Little Abbey's got it all under control. Tony Mortimer now goes around there. Now they just want to drift back. He's got another fast one. Oh, look at Little Abbey right up on the shoulder. Sits there, goes back there around the other way. Nice little bit of horse work there from Little Abbey with Tony Mortimer. Around the first peg now they come. The Black Angus cross steer. Now around the first peg. Now, just trying to get it all under control now. He just does a little bit of adjustments with the steering wheels and presses another couple of buttons. Now there, Black Boilie steer around the second peg. Tony Mortimer says go a little bit harder now. Now little Abby, she says, right, just sit back here, let him run on a little. Over towards the gate, girls and boys, mums and dads, warm those hands up. Can they do it? Can they do it? It's looking very good. Can they do it? They can. Here in the Spotless Stadium, Tony Mortimer with Little Abby.
And now our next competitor is Glenn Coleman. He's from Brungle near Gundagai in the Riverina. He's 32 years of age and a grazier, and he has been on fire for the last 12 months. On this particular horse, Brown Gelding Encore, it's by Coolum Epic. He's only 8 years old, but he's won a maiden, 2 novice drafts and 8 open drafts in the SCA in the last year, which is an incredible performance. Now, Glenn has been to Sydney before, but as a bronc rider, and he was the 2008 ABCRA Australian champion, and he has competed here in the State of Origin Rodeo on 2 occasions before, but now we see him in the Campdraft arena.
Tony Mortimer with Little Abby was 20 for cutout, 59.5 for horsework, 4 out of 4 for the course, a total of 83.5 points. 83.5 points for Little Abby and Tony Mortimer. As we go down to competitor number 4 now, Glenn Coleman with Encore. Glenn Coleman now all the way from down the south of the state there, from Brungle via Gundagai and Encore, and he's got a tricky one. The beast says, I want to go straight across to the members stand, and that's a lovely place to be watching camp drafting over there with all the comforts of the members stand. But give me a nice round of applause there. That was Glenn Coleman with Encore.
Next in camp is Andrew Chapman, who he placed second last night. He's riding Acres Mercury. He's 42. He's from Nundle near Tamworth, and he's been drafting since he was 13 years old. He's no stranger to Sydney. He's placed second in the World Championship Camp Draft before in 2010 and third in 2011. And this horse, Acres Mercury, was 2016 ABCRA Open Horse of the Year.
Score now for Glenn Coleman and Encore was 21 points. 21 points for Encore and Glenn Coleman. Number 5 in the draw now, night number 2, Andrew Chapman with Acres Mercury, and it goes for the big points out into the Spotless Stadium. And Acres Mercury and Andrew Chapman now got the nice kind running Angus Cross steer. The Black Australian Stock Horse Stallion, the Angus Cross steer now. This is a showpiece. Around the first peg they come. Andrew Chapman now. He just sits back in the saddle there. He presses a couple of buttons now, and it's a go a little bit quicker. And look at Acres Mercury. Sets right up there now. Now comes around, says, I'll just sit back here. But he said, I'm ready to go when you touch the accelerator. He comes around. Girls and boys, mums and dads, warm him up. This could be a magnificent run. Oh, Acres Mercury, Andrew Chapman, give him a big round of applause. And I know that the fan club are up in the stand there. Trudy, Charlie and Georgie, they'll be very excited with that run. Well done, Andrew Chapman and Acres Mercury.
Now, Jim, the first of our lady riders, Mandy Gallagher from Bundarra in New South Wales. She was the ABCRA Lady Rider in 2017 and a previous winner of the Ladies Small Arena Draft here at the Sydney Show. She's a former barrel racing champion as well, and she's riding Dunk's Groovester, but officially known as Bruno around the stables. He's an 8-year-old gelding, and he's a quarter horse stock horse cross.
Okay, a score come through now for Andrew Chapman and Acres Mercury was 23 for cutout. 65 for horsework, 4 out of 4 for the course, a grand score of 92 points. 92 points for Acres Mercury and Andrew Chapman. So number 6 now, Mandy Gallagher with Bruno, comes up the face of the camp, calls for the gate now, steps out into the Spotless Stadium. Mandy Gallagher now with Bruno, and things are looking very good for Bruno and Mandy Gallagher, and they've got a fast one around the first peg, but look at Mandy, says, well, just move up here. Bruno's in fine form as well, and Mandy Gallagher, she says now, which will I do the changeover? She's going for the big points around the second peg. Well, Mandy was putting the pressure on not only the beast but also ourselves here as well. They get another shot at the second peg. They come around there now. It would have been a humdinger of a peg if it had come off. Comes around there now. Things are looking pretty good. Bruno says we just had a little bit of bad luck. We'll make up. There's another 4 rounds to go yet. They come around now. Can they get it around? There she goes. Look at Bruno right up on the shoulder. There goes the time. And there goes the stock whips. Give her a nice round of applause, Sydney. Mandy Gallagher with Bruno.
Our next competitor is Mark Palmer. He's a former winner of this particular event. He's a horse trainer and contract musterer from Corindai. In fact, he's won it 3 times before, in 2005, 2012 and most recently in 2014 on this horse. He's a 9-year-old stallion. His name is El Condo and he's a 3rd generation horse to win here in Sydney. His grandmother Brizette won it 7 times. She's an amazing horse. And Mother Brizelli won in 2005 and as we mentioned, El Condo again in 2014. A great track record.
So a score come through now for Mandy Gallagher and Bruno was 20.5 for cutout, 53 for horsework, 3 out of 4 for the course, a total of 76.5 points. 76.5 points for Bruno and Mandy Gallagher. So now we move up to number 7, night number 2 of the World Championship Camp Draft, Mark Palmer. With the great Australian stock horse stallion, Palmer's El Condo. Right up the face of the camp they come. Now the steer says, which way do you want me to go? He says, I see the gate open there now. He steps out into the spotless stadium and El Condo and Mark Palmer aboard. Oh, and he's got himself a fast one. Look at this for a first peg here. El Condo, Mark Palmer. Oh. How about a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen? That was going to be an outstanding first peg. El Condo and Mark Palmer, but it just didn't come off. It happens in all sorts of sports, whether it's cricket, football or tennis. Sometimes the plan just doesn't come off.
Next in camp is Jack Gallagher from Bundarra. He's a station manager. He's a former ABCRA Saddle Bronc champion and also a former New South Wales team captain in the State of Origin here at the Sydney Show. He came 2nd in the World Championship Camp Draft in 2004. He's been on very good form. He's won 5 open drafts in the last year and he's riding 7-year-old chestnut quarter horse gelding, More Gold by One More Playboy.
So a score now for Mark Palmer and El Condo was 20.5 points. 20.5 points for El Condo, ridden by Mark Palmer. So Jack Gallagher with More Gold. And More Gold is certainly putting the best steps forward. Now opens the gate out into the spotless stadium. The Angus Cross here just hesitates again. And Jack Gallagher and More Gold. And there'll be a cutout score there, unfortunately, only there for More Gold and Jack Gallagher.
Well, next we have Lockie Maxwell from Mount Mitchell near Glen Innes. He's been to the show 5 times before. This is his 6th time. He's placed in the Warwick Gold Cup and Paradise Lagoons. He's riding Spookinator, who is a 10-year-old quarter horse gelding the entire family rides. He's nicknamed Spook and he's won and placed in open ladies and junior drafts.
So number 9 in the draw, Lockie Maxwell and Spookinator. And our cattle stewards, Dave and Pete Kelly, they put that beast away. So many thanks there to our cattle stewards, the Kelly brothers. And our Camp Draft judges, they give Lockie Maxwell the nod. They're ready for action. And he makes his selection. Lockie Maxwell with Spookinator, right up the face of the camp. Just wants one to drift away. Nicely done there too. Comes up the face of the camp there now. Goes 1, 2 and 3 and out into the spotless stadium. Here they come. Lockie Maxwell and Spookinator. Things are looking pretty good for the first peg. He just says, I'll sit back here a little now. Comes around there now. Spookinator, Lockie Maxwell. And he's got a lovely Kine running Angus Cross steer. And he does the changeover. 2 points for the first peg. Looking to get another point for the course if he can wrap around this second peg, and he's playing it pretty safe. Now he says, let's go. Spookinator, he just ups the tempo a little. Now can they do it, boys and girls, mums and dads? He's going to cut it short. He comes around there now. Can he get around? Can he get around? Oh, so close. Give him a nice round of applause there, girls and boys, mums and dads. That was Lockie Maxwell with Spookinator.
Well, our next competitor is Wade Miles, who's having a birthday today. Yesterday he was 23. Today, of course, I'm guessing he's going to be 24. He's a livestock agent, 3rd in last year's World Championship Camp Draft, 4th in 2015. And he's riding Greenvale Request, who's an Adios Reflect mare that was the 2014 maiden horse of the year.
So a score just coming through there now for Lockie Maxwell and Spookinator. So a score coming through here now for Lockie Maxwell, who was 20.5 for cutout, 57.5 for horsework, 3 out of 4 for the course.
So it's 81.
A total of 81 points. 81 points for Spookinator and Lockie Maxwell. So number 10 now, Wade Miles from Scone in the Hunter Valley. And calls for the gate, and here we go with Greenvale Request and Wade Miles, and things are looking very good here for Request and Wade Miles. He got the long, tall, rangy Angus cross steer, and look here, and the Request, and it's all looking pretty good. Wade Miles does the changeover, sits back. Now Request says, leave the footwork to me. He says, oh, you just touch the buttons and I'll be there at your request. And they come around here now, around the second peg. He just sits a little more, but now he's got to push it around. Now he's going to go for it could be the impossible changeover. He's going to just play it pretty safe. He says, I'll go for 3 out of 4 for the course. Give him a nice round of applause, Sydney boys and girls, mums and dads. That was Wade Miles from Scone with Greenvale Request.
Well, Jim, we'd love to have a score for Jack Gallagher if there's one to hand at any point in future, but right now we've got Matt Holtz in the camp. He's from Modella in Victoria, and he's been the champion rider in the Gippsland Campdraft Association 2013, 14 and 2016. He won the Landmark Classic in 2015 in fine style, and the 2016 Open Draft there on this horse. It's Dharma Acres of Impact. He's an 8-year-old black stallion by Acres Destiny.
Okay, a score now for Wade Miles and Greenvale Request was 21 for cutout, 57.5 for horsework, 3 out of 4 for the course, a total of 81.5 points. 81.5 points for Wade Miles and Greenvale Request. Okay, here we go now with number 11 in the draw. Round number 2, Matt Holtz from West Gippsland in Victoria with Dharma Acres of Impact, and they step out into the Spotless Stadium. Oh, and the beast just hasn't run out there the way that Matt thought he was going to. Sydney boys and girls, I think we can give him a round of applause. He's going to be a little bit disappointed with that. But give him a nice round of applause. That'll help relieve the pain a little bit. A round of applause is as good as a Panadol sometimes.
Well, that's camp drafting. It's a tough old sport. And here's a tough combination. Nigel Cable riding stallion Chevron Ivory. Chevron Ivory is 19 years old and still in fine form. He's in the Australian Stock Horse Hall of Fame. He's won over 110 camp drafts. He has over 750 foals, and he's won nearly $300,000 in prize money and trophies throughout his career. Now, he's won this event 3 times, back in 2007 and then, as we mentioned earlier, in 2015 and 16. So can he make the trifecta this year?
22.5 points there for Matt Holtz and Dharma Acres of Impact, 22.5 points. Yes, Kate, we move on to Nigel Cable, and also just heard the day too that Nigel's just been named Lithgow Sportsperson of the Year. So congratulations also there to Nigel for being named the Lithgow Sportsperson of the Year. So here he is, round number 2 of the World Championship Camp Draft, competitor number 12 in round 2. And the great Australian stock horse, Chevron Ivory, as they step out onto centre stage here in the Spotless Stadium. And here's Chevron Ivory and Nigel Cable. And around the first peg, they're out on the dance floor. And around the first peg they came. And they do the flying changeover, and look at the ears of Chevron Ivory. Says, we're ready to go. And Nigel Cable says, when you're ready, I'll leave it all to you. And look at the footwork of Chevron Ivory around the second peg. Can they do it? Can they do it? It's looking very good. It's magnificent. Well, we'll leave that in the hands of the judges, Chevron Ivory and Nigel Cable. Well, we'll wait for the computers to come through for a score, Kate.
Oh, what a combination they are. Extraordinary to watch. That is a real treat. Well done. Well, now we move on to Troy Palmer in the camp. He is a lucky 13. He's on Binya Sniper. He's a horse trainer and a contractor from Coolah. He won in 2003 with Binya Glory and in 2013 with Binya Impressive Destiny. He's here now with Binya Sniper. Of course, he's bred all these horses himself, and there's a proud tradition in his family of breeding quality horses. And let's see what he can do today.
Well, Kate, the score for Chevron Ivory and Nigel Cable was 22 for cutout, 66.5 for horsework. 4 out of 4 for the course, a total of 92.5 points. 92.5 points for Chevron Ivory and Nigel Cable. Now we up to number 13, round number 2, Troy Palmer with Benia Sniper from Coolah, New South Wales, and Sniper and Troy Palmer and across the Spotless Stadium. And they're going to get a little bit out of bounds as our judges stock whips, and many thanks to our judges, Fred Patterson and Wayne Edwards, here for the World Championship Campdraft 2017.
Well, now we have one of our more experienced drafters. He's Alan Young from Aberdeen. He's a horse breeder and trainer, and he's been drafting for 43 years. He's been a judge of this event, and he's also judged the State of Origin Rodeo, but he's placed in the World Championship Camp Draft himself and won the Small Arena Draft 3 times. He's riding Acres Liberty Bow, an 18-year-old stallion by Acres Destiny, winner of 85 camp drafts, including the Landmark Open and the Stallion Shootout.
So a score now for Troy Palmer and Benia Sniper was 22 points for cutout, 22 points for Troy Palmer and Benia Sniper. So Alan Young and Acres Liberty Bow. Another very well-known combination. As you just heard Kate read out some of the performances of this combination of Alan Young and Acres Liberty Bow. So we've seen some magnificent runs again here on night number 2 of the World Championship Camp Draft. And once again, many thanks to Elliston Pastoral Company, the Packer family, to the management, Rob Teague, Scott Mitchell, and the team up at Elliston. Many, many thanks for a magnificent line of the steers for the World Championship Camp Draft. So Alan Young, he makes his selection. And he brings the black bally steer up the face of the camp, and Acres Liberty Bow says, leave it to me on the dance floor. Goes across, calls for the gate. They're about to step out onto centre stage. And here they come. Acres Liberty Bow and Alan Young. He just sits back here, finger touch control as they come around the first peg. Steer just zagged a little bit too, but a great anticipation there from Alan Young. They do the changeover. He got a fairly fast one. Around the second peg, they've got 2 points for the course at the moment. They're looking to have 3. He tightens it up a little bit. Boys and girls, mums and dads, come on Sydney. Royal Easter Show 2017. Acres Liberty Bow and Alan Young. They have. Give him a nice round of applause. That was another great run. So don't be frightened to clap those hands and rattle the cans, and you can shout or yell here in the Spotless Stadium, and that'll help the camp drafters perform even better if they get one of these wonderful running Angus Cross steers.
2 more riders to go, and here's Cara O'Brien riding O'Brien's Vedette. She was the 2016 ABCRA runner-up lady rider, and she competed successfully in stock horse classes. Her grandfather won this World Championship twice. Her brother has also won it, and her husband has competed in it. So very, very strong family tradition, and riding O'Brien's Vedette, a lovely horse that has won lead and working classes, 2-handed cutting, and over 20 camp drafts. So very versatile, and she's also got foals on the ground. She has had progeny playing polo in England.
Okay, a score now for Alan Young and Acres Liberty Bow was 22.5 for cutout, 64 for horsework, 4 out of 4 for the course, a total of 90.5 points. 90.5 points for Acres Liberty Bow, ridden by Alan Young. Number 15 now, Kyra O'Brien with O'Brien's Vedette. And she's certainly going for the points up here now. And Vedette says, leave the footwork to me. Kyra O'Brien steps out onto centre stage and around the first peg. And things are yes, we'll get behind and we can go as well, because that'll help Kyra as well as they pick it up now and come around the second time. And she'd be thinking to herself, why didn't you do that the first time for me? Now it comes back around, does the changeover. Got 2 out of 4 for the course at the moment. Now going to tighten the second peg up. Can they get it back over the line there? Now we've got 3 out of 4. Girls and boys, mums and dads, can she beat the clock? Can she do it? Can O'Brien's Vedette and Kyra O'Brien cheer her on, cheer on? Oh, but give her a big round of applause, boys and girls, mums and dads. Kyra O'Brien with Vedette.
Well, our final competitor tonight is Glenn Peterson. He's from Cowra. He's a livestock buyer. He was second in the World Championship Camp Draft at the Sydney Show last year. He's been so consistent, a top 5 performer in the ABCRA in their open rider standings over the last 3 years. He's riding Pine Tar Memphis by Binia Impressive Destiny, and it's a 7-year-old stallion.
So a score coming through now for Kyra O'Brien, and O'Brien's vedette was 21.5 for cutout, 55 for horsework, 3 out of 4 for the course for a total of 79.5. 79.5 points for O'Brien's vedette, ridden by Kyra O'Brien. So up now to Glenn Pedersen with Pine Tar Memphis. The stock buyer right up the face of the camp, calls for the gate, steps out onto the centre stage here in the Spotless Stadium, and Memphis and Glenn Peterson, they got themselves a fast one. Around the first peg they come, and things are starting to sail along. He might have just broke the 60-kilometre barrier there. I hope the radar's not working close to the showground. Now they come around now, he's got a very fast one right out there now around the second peg, but Memphis has got it all under control, and he says, well, just let the beast run a little wide, that'll just take a little bit more of the gas out, but he's keeping the pace up. And come on, girls and boys of Sydney, can they wheel him around? Can they wheel him around? Member says yes, we'll turn him back around towards the member stand. Now the time's ticking away. The radar's still on. Is the radar lined up straight? There goes the time. There goes the stock whip. So give him a round of applause. That was Pine Tar Memphis and Glenn Peterson.
Well, we'll just await the result for Glenn Peterson there in Pine Tar Memphis. It shows what an exhilarating sport Camp Draft is, and how lucky were we to see 3 really top scores over 90 points there. It's fantastic to see such great quality camp drafting in the heart of Sydney.
So the score's about to come through, Kate, for Glenn Peterson, and Pine Tar Memphis was a score of 21 for cutout, 53 for horsework, 3 out of 4 for the course, a total of 77.5 points. 77.5 points for Pine Tar Memphis and Glenn Peterson. Well, Kate, while we're just getting ready for the presentation, I might just So I just got our Camp Draft judge here with me, Fred Patterson. Fred, welcome to the Sydney Royal Easter Show 2017. Must be a great honour to come to the Royal Easter Show as a Camp Draft judge.
Yes, Jimmy, it certainly is. It's Wayne and I are very honoured to be here to judge the draft this year and to have the beautiful cattle and to see these competitors that are the best in the country.
Magnificent line of cattle, and that really makes the sport of camp drafting something a real great spectacle to us when you've got the real good cattle.
Oh, most definitely. That's everything in camp drafting, is to have a good even line of cattle for the competitors and for the cattle to run this well. It's really great.
Fred, you're one of the people that knows a little bit about being good for the competitors, etc. You've been here as a competitor now to come back and be asked to judge here at the Royal Easter Show. Great honour.
Yeah, it's a wonderful honour and privilege to do so, Jim. Jim, it's I think every judge wants to judge here.
Well, thanks, Fred, for your time, and we'll go over and do the presentation of the winner and place getters of round number 2. Thank you.
Thank you, Jimmy.
So there's one of our Camp Draft judges, Mr. Fred Patterson from Gloucester, New South Wales. And we're just about to go with the presentation of round number 2 of the World Championship Camp Draft. And the World Championship Camp Draft for 2017, once again, sponsored by Tyrrell's. Who else? And we're just here with the winner now, Nigel Cable. Well, Nigel, another win at the World Championship Camp Draft. You're starting to make it look a little bit easier. You just got to have a little bit of luck to go with camp drafting, Nigel. But congratulations on night number 2.
Yeah, thanks, Jimmy. It's always good to get a few around down here. It's very good. Just like to thank the sponsors, Tyrrell's, and yeah, we'll indulge in a little bit when we get back to the stables. Thanks, Jimmy.
Nigel, as we're just taking there to Fred Patterson, the Campdraft judge, magnificent line of cattle again. And when you see that, a great line of cattle, good competitors, and the great Australian stock horses, things all come together. It makes it a real spectacle.
Yeah, Elliston are a great company. They lend quality cattle everywhere we go, not only Sydney Show, but they lend to a lot of camp drafts all up in the Hunter area, and whenever there's cattle needed, they step up with good quality cattle for us to chase. A very great company.
Nigel, it's been 2 for Chevron Ivory. No doubt this is number 3, is it? There's been 3, so you're looking for number 4.
Long way to go yet, Jimmy. We'll just take it as it comes.
Okay, Nigel, all the best for the remaining rounds, and good luck to you and Ivory.
Good on you. Thanks, mate.
And so there we go, Kate. The Campdraft competitors, they will be going back there, bedding their horses down, and they'll be all going to dinner tonight together, because the Campdrafting fraternity is a great family sport, and they'll be sitting down and having a little glass of Tyrrell's later on this evening.
Thank you very much, Jim. So our unofficial results there, of course, are first to Nigel Cable and Chevron Ivory. In second place, Andrew Chapman with Acres Mercury. In third place, Alan Young on Acres Liberty Bow. In fourth place, Ben Matum and Millbrook Boutique. And in fifth place, Tony Mortimer. And I think that's the way it rolls. And thank you so much for a great call, Jim. Always terrific to have you.